the help it gives me with teaching and learning then just helps me then to frame the discipline or the accountancy and finance issues. So they kind of go hand in hand. But I suppose in the old way I was very much discipline focused, and this course has kind of made me more aware of the more holistic side of teaching and learning.
I'm much more conscious of how I teach, but different methodologies, different ways of using technology, different techniques that other colleagues use, different ways of working with groups, small exercises to use, just lots of little tips. So, and one of the key areas I think that really helped was the idea of planning. And I know we do try as much as possible to plan, but maybe we don't get to do it as well as we should. And I think that was a key learning outcome for me.
Words like learning outcomes were as alien to me when I started as they were to, or as sometimes they continue to be to our students. So I really realised the value of having your modules written well from the beginning, of thinking all the time about assessment, that it wasn't just something to tag on at the end. And so it definitely has got me thinking and planning a lot more. I tended to be a little bit chaotic in terms of how I taught before. In my head, that was my creative side and my innovative side, but I learned you can be innovative and creative and still have planned what you're going to teach, and it actually wears you out a lot less and your students get a lot more out of it.
I would just feel a huge confidence in the way that I would look at, when we would maybe introduce new electronic resource or some new innovation to the library, just at how I would sit down, particularly if I was going to do, say, library tour involved with that, or some induction work, or some face-to-face work with students, how I might sit down and plan how that would be delivered, a lesson plan as such. And again, that I would look and say, well, look, if I have to do this in this environment, what type of teaching would that entail? If I'm doing this, how do the learners see it? So from that point of view, I would just approach it with far greater confidence now than I would have in the past.
There was a great interaction between participants. Most of the participants in my course were working at IEDT, either as lecturers or in the library or similar, and we started to talk over coffee, exchange our experiences or ideas, and the great thing is that this also continued after the course.
The huge benefit that we would see is the fact that the staff from the 6 departments from the 3 schools are now engaged with one another, appreciating, if you like, the variations in the approaches that they might have for the different disciplines, and realising that the same underpinning happens for all teaching and engagement and learning. And that, I think, it's not that it's inspiring, but it is inspiring for them. They have a certain sense of moving forward together, and I think that's fantastic. You would see people who've done the course meeting one another. Now I can't say they didn't meet each other before, but certainly friendships have blossomed, because when we introduced them the first day, a number of staff wouldn't even know one another. The college has been very positive in the way it approaches facilitating staff, in that part-time staff are welcome to come, full-time staff. So therefore you're going to have people that wouldn't be in all the time. Now they're here much more. And that's good for everybody. We also extended to people involved in teaching and learning. So we've had participants from the library, we've had participants from students in academic affairs, and this has made the entire thing richer too, because you now realise that you work in an institute where everybody plays their part in the education of these students, and how we all fit into that experience for those students and how we can contribute to it. And I think that's been very rewarding for all the staff involved.